Hello, Spurs Tube. This is the World Spurs Tour here on Spurs After Dark, and I am joined by Jamie Pretty from Manila out there in the Philippines. How are you doing tonight, Jamie?
Well, just like one of our hopefully soon to arrive panelists, just waking up. Um, so yeah, I work late, I stay late, I get up late, and that's what's happened to most of our panelists. But yeah, no, woke up to the rather sickening news of the behaviour of some, I emphasise, Hungarian fans hurling racist chants and abuse at the English black players in the World Cup qualifiers last night, in spite of the fact that they didn't seem to get quiet after getting trounced 4-0 by England. So, yeah, if it's not one thing, it's another. Spurs are still top of the league for the international break at least. And yeah, let's all wake up, whether it be physically, whether it be ethically, whether it be premiership form wise. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's an ongoing problem in football. It's one that we're all trying to fight against. One can question the efforts and the responses, the punishments even by UEFA in these situations, whether they go far enough, whether any of this is actually making a difference to stop these sorts of occurrences from happening. Because every time this happens, we stop, we talk about it. You see the pundits on Sky Sports and BT, they discuss it, and we all say the same things. It's disgusting, it's reprehensible, it's wrong. But at the end of the day, it keeps happening. So I think we have to, all look at ourselves as football fans, as well as the governing structure of football in Europe and around the world, because Europe isn't the only place that this happens. It just happens to get the most coverage when it happens in Europe. And really just ask, what do we need to do to stop this from happening? Where does it end? And yeah, I mean, hopefully the powers that be within UEFA are considering these questions, and hopefully that we can have some kind of progress on this, because it seems the promotional campaigns, the taking the knee, the black armbands, all the things, kick out racism, all the things that we do, it just doesn't seem to be enough to stop this from happening.
I think it's a bit like everything. It doesn't matter whether it's global warming, the COVID effort, racism in sport. There's always a tokenism, but never actually a full whole hog. What is necessary to get things done. So it takes with every one of those issues, it takes a unified effort to sort the problem on and kick the problem out. So
absolutely.
But let's be a bit more positive. I know it's late where you are, and just waking up where we are. So yeah, we've got to look to the future and hope that there's light after the dark. Even though right now we're a Spurs after dark. So.
Well, and hopefully after the dark, I am here to bring some light. Got a bunch of lights behind me, lighting up my screen. Scott M, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. It's good to have you here. Eugene will be joining us shortly, and we might also have some other guests as well. And I was thinking maybe later in the show, we might just open it up to whoever's in the comment section, if that's something people would like to do. We'll see. But in the meantime, Jamie, I haven't been on a stream with you in a long time. I've been having technical issues since I moved out here into the mountains. So 3 wins, 3 goals, 0 goals conceded. How are you feeling about Spurs right now?
Well, the Spursy part of me is waiting for something to happen. So I can't fully enjoy what's happening now. I've also just realised I think I've given my wife the wrong link. I'm not sure. No. I think I have the right link. Yeah, but I would like to think that this is the start of something momentous. But it's only 3 games in, so keep the feet on the ground and the eyes to the stars. So if things do fall, I don't have far to fall before I'm standing on terra firma again. So I've just seen this morning, apparently Nuno and Dyer are up for some kind of award. I don't know whether they're nominated for Player and Manager of the Month, which wouldn't have been, certainly for Dyer, even feasible or imaginable end of last season. So maybe changes are coming.
Yeah, maybe it is. And one thing's about to change on this broadcast, and that's our third member of the show has just joined us, Mr. Eugene. How are you?
Hi, and good
Sleepy.
evening, Kieran. Yeah. Oh, watching the England match last night, right? So, yeah, I'm here. I'm
Yeah,
here.
I'd made the assumption that you'd been
Yeah.
vlog jumping.
Nah, there wasn't much shows last night. Everybody was more or less watching the England game, unless it was
Yeah,
after the England game. Yeah, but no,
yeah,
not after England. Yeah.
we've just been talking about the atrocious behaviour of a section of the Hungarian fans. So
It's normal, guys. Everything's normalized. How you say nowadays, fans do what they want to do. If the authorities don't put a heavier punishment, they'll keep doing whatever they want to do, right? But Southgate did say, right, look at yourselves first before you look at other people. So look at ourselves first. Like keep saying all these type of situations, always look at ourselves first before you point the finger. I don't know what to
no,
say.
we've already noted there's the idiots all over the world who behave in such a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very careful the way I worded my soapbox comment on my Facebook group. I didn't want the Hungarian population to come down on me like a ton of bricks. Oh no, we're not all like that. Hey.
I'm sure the world, not everyone's like that, right? But the worst part is that it's being allowed to happen. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, and that really is the question, right? Again, what does UEFA need to do to stop this, to keep this from happening? Because the punishments
You really want to know how?
how
Stop all the countries that are in that kind of situation before participating. That's all.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
Harry Kane said. No, not Harry Kane. Andros Townsend's dad, Troy Townsend, who was making a comment on Sky. He was saying that the heavy punishment, kick them out of the tournament.
Yeah, but the thing is that this type of situations go throughout every country, right? There's no filtering of it, right? Sorry to say that the world is full of this type of people, and just one bad apple will lead the rest into damnation, or you can call that, right? So I don't know. In the day, it's us people make the choice, so make the correct choice. That's all. All right. Even when you're choosing your government, and even look at yourself first, deep down inside. To me, these type of issues around the world, even we are just talking based on football, right? Football is just the tip of the iceberg. If you take it to world matters, right? Football is just tip of the iceberg because football is a sports, okay? But it reflects on every walk of life, and you see it there, and you can't escape it. But at least the English team still took the knee, right, to try to send a message out while the boos were there. So, but like I said, Southgate said we have to look at our own garden first before you try to pull the weeds out of our own garden first before you try to go and pull the weeds out of other people's gardens.
absolutely.
Appreciate, but with Hungary, they've
Mm.
got a recent track record that shows that yes, we all have these problems, but they're problems are a little bit more acute at the moment.
Yeah.
So
Jamie, the problem is actually acute around the world. It's just we don't see it, or we just don't want to see it, right? Every day it happens. Yeah.
I mean, I look at England had their own problems after the Euro final. You saw what happened with the black players who were abused by English fans after the Euro final. So it's not just the more homogenous, less cosmopolitan, diverse countries that have this problem. The United States, when they play Mexico, it's a bitter rivalry, and there's almost always chants that are either racist or homophobic or something. There's players getting pelted with cups full of urine from the crowd. I mean, stuff like that. All of this is unacceptable.
you mean
all of this.
American beer?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that too. Yes. It's only the macro brews that are bad. We have an amazing craft brewing culture here in the U.S. now.
There is one beer that I do miss from the States that I haven't had in a long time. Samuel Adams Honey Brown.
Oof. Not my personal favorite.
Okay, the other one was from north of the border, Michelob Dry.
Oh, okay.
That I've heard of.
Yeah, I've had the Michelob Ultra. I mean, that's a pretty popular beer, especially because it's I think it's lower calorie, so people like that, especially if they're on a diet or something.
I don't know. Training. Well, I don't know if Michelob Dry still exists. The whole point being is that you got all the flavor and none of the gassy aftertaste. So that was my thing. I didn't want to be sort of. I wanted just a clean, refreshing drink. So.
Hey there's Spundet. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I asked Jamie his feelings on Spurs. 3 wins in, no goals conceded. And Eugene, what have you been thinking lately? Is there anything you've been thinking specifically about this team, where we are right now, what we're looking at, the games ahead?
To me, I'm of course I'm happy, right? 3 for 3, no goals conceded. Nuno did say, don't look at the table, right? Don't look at the table. But of course we have to look at the table. We're top of the table, right? And you know who is at the bottom, right? So of course we have to gloat in it for a while, for at least 2 weeks more.
Especially after all the money they spent.
I think for another 10 days more, so right, before the international break is over. The team, I know. Players we've got in seems to be okay for the future, right? But right now, of course, we need a creative midfielder. We need an extra striker. But I'm not sure. I have to check to see whether the window is still open for us to go down into the championship, to dip into the championship to get a backup striker or so. Or a striker to just in case, Hurricanes get injured or something like that. Whether that ruling is still applicable. If then, I should suggest we do, right? Just in case. And like a lot of people have been going around saying that, it's not fair to place all the pressure on Dane Scarlett, 17-year-old boy. But if he's good enough, right, and he can prove himself, we haven't seen much teenagers come through the system and go straight into the first team in a long time. I think the last person was actually that turned out great was actually Wayne Rooney, if I'm not mistaken. Right? I mean, in the EPL, that's the last person I saw. Of course, you don't take the French league. Of course, you had Mbappe coming in, and now you got in the German league, you got Haaland there, right? But in the English Premier League, coming through the ranks, no one has been apart from Rooney. I mean, to reach that certain level of, just coming in and being a baller.
At such a young age. Well, although the international transfer window has slammed shut, there's still the domestic window. Do you think there's any possibility we could bring in so we could bring in a player from the championship? You think there's any possibility that could happen? Similar to what happened with Joe Rodon last Summer?
Oh, that's what I'm looking at. Of course, everything
Well, at
is
the
a
moment,
possibility.
the top scorers, Alexander
Mitrovic,
Mitrovic from Fulham,
yeah,
Andreas Wehrmann,
no.
Bristol City, Aidan Flint, Cardiff, John
Actually, I
Swift.
went through and did a study on that. Right,
Hmm.
only out striker I think is Mitrovic, Wayman, Flynn, and a few of them are actually midfielders.
Solanke.
Solanke, yeah, but I'm not going to take Mitrovic or Solanke because they were actually in the Premier League and they didn't prove themselves. And somehow or another, Mitrovic is a championship striker. Every season he comes up, right? He doesn't perform. I don't know why, or maybe he's not at the level to be a Premier League striker. I don't know. Maybe he can come back up again, but I don't think we'll go for him. Will we?
Mm-hmm.
You think Fulham will
Well,
let him go while he's on that kind of
I don't
scoring?
know. I mean, but
Yeah.
looking at the no one jumps out at me.
There's this Chilean boy, right? Ben something. Yeah.
Ben Brereton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ben Brereton. Yeah, but he
That
can be considered homegrown too because he's been in the youth system for some time, and actually he's born in England, if I'm mistaken.
He is yes, he's half English. His mother is Chilean.
Mm.
He actually didn't find out. I don't know if many people have probably heard this story, but if you haven't, Ben Brereton is a English-born, half Chilean striker who plays for Blackburn Rovers, and he actually found out that he was eligible to play for Chile, or somebody found out that he was
Nice.
eligible to play for Chile by playing Football Manager, the video game.
Oh.
There was somebody who found that in a Blackburn Rovers match day program, it mentioned that Ben Brereton was half Chilean, and some Chilean Football Manager players got a hold of that information and then started a social media campaign in Chile to get Ben Brereton to be called up to the Chilean national team. And he played in Copa America for Chile and scored a goal. He might have scored a couple goals, actually. Honestly, I watched one of the games he played in. He looks like a decent striker to me. I mean, he's nowhere near the level to start, but to have just another warm body, a more experienced player standing there in between Harry Kane and Dane Scarlett having to play in the Premier League, I wouldn't be against that. I think it would be fairly cheap to pry him from Blackburn, who I really don't think are serious candidates for promotion. So, I think it would be a good option, one that Spurs could at least take a look at. It couldn't hurt.
Yeah.
We got Scott M in the comments here. He says Kiefer Moore if we were going for a championship striker. Big guy experience.
Yeah.
Maybe Cardiff wants to move him because of his age, but I think we get nobody. Yeah, Kiefer Moore, he a lot of Welsh national team caps for that guy. He's, definitely a traditional big target man striker, which Nuno tends to favor. So that could be not a bad shout for us, and he can form a new Welsh mafia with Ben Davis and Joe Rodon now that Gareth Bale's gone back to Real Madrid.
Yeah. Scott, if you want to hop on, right? I can throw you the link if you want to.
Yeah.
This fascination is with hopping. Always hopping.
Yes, and your fascination of being an English teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, Jamie, I'm just joking. Yeah.
That's okay. No. There's
yeah.
situations that are not making my job so easy right now. So.
Oh, what happened? I mean,
No. I'm not gonna.
Okay, we won't go there. Yeah, all right. We won't go and talk about that now.
By the way, my eye is a little bit distracted as well at the moment because
Are you watching the US match? Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to keep up. It's still 0-0 in the 65th minute. I don't know how
I'll be asking
up to date
whether you want to do a watch along for it, right?
We could. I mean, I just, I don't know. I am nervous. Just the fact that we're sitting here and
and it's 0-0.
Yeah, it's just not.
Let me get the match on.
I mean, I get El Salvador. I mean, I would really have hoped we had at least put a goal.
Yeah, El Salvador. What's happening? Isn't that supposed to be like a? I mean, no disrespect to El Salvador, right? But isn't that like a walk in the park for you guys?
This is the thing. World Cup qualifying is never a walk in the park for the United States. No matter how heavily we're favored, it never seems to make much of a difference. World Cup qualifying is always a bit difficult
Yeah.
for us. So, hopefully we'll pull this through.
Well,
I'd be really disappointed if we didn't.
every team's
Yeah,
got
no,
extra
that's why no
motivation.
wonder Will is not jumping on. Yeah.
No, Will's definitely watching the match.
Yeah.
The US are very much like Tottenham in European group stages. You think it should be easy, but it never really is. So there's no such thing as an easy match for the United States in World Cup qualifying, just like the group stages of Europe for Tottenham Hotspur. So yeah, I mean,
65 minutes now.
yeah. So
All right, I'm at 65, 30, 31, 32.
So on my screen, I'm at 64:30, so I'm about a minute behind you,
Okay,
actually.
you're in America and you're getting it slower than me.
Yeah, I don't have we don't have like cable television or anything up here, so I'm watching online. I'm watching online as well. So, and I don't have the
Oh, you don't have the
yeah.
direct stream thing, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
cable.
I got it
Yeah.
straight from my
You
cable.
you should have been running a cable out the side of your car from where you used to live to where you live now, and plugged into the new neighbors.
Well, that would be
Yeah,
one
yeah,
very
what-
very long cable.
No,
Like-
your nearest neighbor is what? 20 kilometers away.
No, I actually do have like my landlady, the lady who owns the house, and
Ah,
there are a couple other houses right next to us, but the nearest like town, like real town, is about a 20-minute drive. So so
not
that's
near, right?
yeah.
You're not going to get cabin fever, are you?
No. I get out every day. I don't mind driving, so I don't mind driving into town and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I used to be a werewolf, but I'm all right now.
Okay. Scott M says I have to go out in about 5 minutes, so can't jump on. But I'll be listening. All right. What time is it over there now?
Where?
Clear?
In the US?
Where you are?
It's about
Exactly.
11
It's 11:30.
11:30
Yeah.
p.m. Oh, all right.
Yeah, because it's exactly 12 hours between the two of us, or the three of us, or me and the two of you. So yeah, it's yeah, this is not. It's not going so well.
What kind of team has this has American put up?
Honestly,
Spurs.
that's the most worrying part. Is it's a strong team. We've got Weston McKennie out there who plays for Juventus, Gio Reyna who plays for Borussia Dortmund. We've got Josh Sargent. He came off, and
Dennis playing.
Sabecho went on, and he plays for who does he play for again? Young Boys in Switzerland. Yeah, we've got Yedlin on right now. I think I think one of the problems is the left center back there, Tim Ream. Most recently, I think he's still at Fulham. I think he's still at Fulham. He's an aging player, and he's lost more than a step of pace. We've got Brendan Aronson out there, young and up and coming talent. Anthony Robinson, who is at Fulham, is out there at left back. We've got a really strong team. So it's really concerning that it's this close. But then again, Mexico is playing Jamaica right now too, and they're tied 1-1. So again, it's CONCACAF. It's qualifying. It's messy. It's always going to be like this.
I didn't realize that Messi. I didn't realize that
foul.
Didn't realize that Messi was playing for the MLS yet.
Yeah, no, I'm sure David Beckham is just waiting with bated breath for his PSG contract.
Who's the goalkeeper?
The goalkeeper is Matt Turner, who until recently hasn't been part of the national team setup. He plays for the New England Revolution in MLS, but he's actually a very strong goalkeeper. Yeah, we got James Joris. Thanks for tuning in. Never an easy, energized crowd. Yeah, the El Salvadorians, they back their
Oh yeah,
their
the other
their
thing
nation.
is and the other thing is that it's a away game for America. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like the nicest pitch that they're playing on either. Looks a little dried out. Yeah, Dest. I think Dest is off though. Yeah, he's been subbed off um, for Anthony Robinson, but yeah, he does play for Barcelona. And Ream is still at Fulham. That's kind of surprising to me. I've been one who I really don't want to continue seeing Tim Ream in the squad just because of his age and his lack of pace. But I do understand wanting an experienced head in what is a very, very young U.S. men's national team right now, at least just to carry us through qualifying. I don't know if he'll actually end up being a part of the World Cup squad, but
Okay.
so we got a free kick here for El Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
So is this going to be Spurs, or are we turning it into a USA watch along?
I don't know. It seemed like that's what Eugene wanted to do more so than I. You'd think be the
Yeah.
American. I'd be
I'm
the one.
okay.
But
Spurs is still there, back of our mind, right? What to do is how you say, international break gets you in the international break mood.
yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I think, to switch the focus back to Spurs real quick. What do you guys think of our next few games? So our month of September, as it stands, we've got Palace. We've got Palace away next Saturday. Then on the 19th, my birthday, Tottenham hosts Chelsea, and my best friend is a Chelsea fan, so I'm sure the two of us will be watching that together,
Okay.
and hopefully we win because it's my birthday, and that would really suck to lose to them and get bantered on my birthday. but it is Chelsea, so that's likely to happen. Then we've got oh, that's not good.
Yeah. Sorry
you're
to
ahead of
break
me.
that. Yeah. And of course, how you say it, Spurs next 3 games. I guess Palace. I'll take it as a clean slate again because Nuno has got his squad in place now, right? So I do expect some changes.
And there's only one player on that Palace squad who I see as a genuine goal threat, and that's, as always, Wilfred Zaha. So, I think Eberechi Eze is a really promising player. I really liked him at QPR.
But he's injured, right?
But yeah, he's injured currently, and they just really don't have anybody else in the squad who I see as a genuine threat. But then again, Palace, they always seem to nick a cheeky goal against us, so we'll see what happens. But that was a very nice. Oh, that was a very nice ball. It's too bad. They always tend to nick a goal here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we did break the clean slate streak away at Palace. But the good thing is Harry Kane and Dele Alli both love a game against Crystal Palace, and will likely have both in the starting 11. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kane bags a brace and maybe even Dele for a goal or at least maybe an assist. So
can I share an interesting story that you might already be aware of? From last night, from Sky Sports, Serge Aurier, ex-Tottenham defender, would consider a move to Arsenal.
Yes.
Yeah, we've heard of that. But not going to look too much into that at the moment. But more of my concern, because of watching yesterday's England match, Kane had 4 chances straight onto goal, and he didn't take it. So that gives me a bit of concern. But I think Kane still needs to get his shooting boots on too, right? Hopefully he does. And hopefully he gets a lot of practice with Andorra.
Yeah, I think the international break comes at a great time for Harry Kane to get practice against what is some soft teams that he can really bully. I think he'll come back into this one, back into the team fit and firing, and again, it's Palace. Kane loves to just rip Crystal Palace every time he plays them, so I don't see this being any different. But it will be a full Selhurst Park this time, which we didn't have that last season. and it isn't an easy place to go. They're very loud. It's a small stadium, but it's a very loud one. So
Yeah, and don't forget, right? London Derby again.
it is. It's technically a London derby, I guess. I don't know how seriously Tottenham fans consider take that. I mean, it is Palace after all.
Derby is Derby, right? So
it is a derby, so
Well,
we
at,
need
at,
to
at
win.
least,
to their
at least,
fans,
at least
it's
you stay in
important.
South London.
To their fans, it's important, right? Don't forget, right?
Oh yeah. It's a big game for them. It always is, and they do
Technically-
usually
tec-
try.
It could be a derby. Think about it, because Patrick Vieira is the manager, so technically it's Tottenham Arsenal.
Yeah.
That's an excellent point there, Jamie. Adding a little bit of there is a little bit of venom in this one. This will be interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Well, then I really want us to bury them now, since they've got Vieira in the dugout.
He'll probably get on the pitch. He'll probably play as a midfielder or something.
Yeah, he'll probably stick a leg out from the touchline and trip Steven Bergwijn as he's running down the wing. Something like that. Yeah, no, definitely want to see him smash them for sure, and I think we will. I triple captained Kane in my fantasy team because I really think Kane for a brace in this game.
Yeah, I know. I'm still waiting for the qualifiers to be over and to check up which are the players and who are the players who are coming back, and whether they're going to start, whether they're going to play before I do any changes. To tell the truth, actually, I've got Kane out of my FPL squad at the moment while going through all that saga and debacle.
I understand that. I think a lot of people do, but I just have I have a lot of faith in the man. And again, one of the reasons I have him in this week is because Palace, and I just know how much he loves to show up against them. Spundit here. I would love to see Serge at Arsenal. He will mess up their games with a red card or pen. Yeah. I'm sure he'll get up to a fair bit of that. I will just say one thing. I'll just say my piece on this real quick because I haven't got a chance yet since the news broke. If Serge Aurier terminates his contract at Tottenham and then goes to play for Arsenal, he will become probably my third most hated footballer of all time. Because I didn't like him when he was here. I never liked him on the pitch. I thought he was ill-disciplined. I think I mean, we all know the pens, the cards, the free kicks around our own box. Just always an ill-disciplined defender, too overzealous to get forward. He was a good crosser of the ball. I'll give him that. But, I mean, there were a lot of times where he just seemed not really committed in game, where he would wander, he would get lost in games, and he would fail to track back. And I was always really frustrated by that. But but it really comes to for me with the whole last season, he was clearly one of the outlier players, one of those troublemaker players in the changing room who was at odds with Mourinho. And let me be very clear, I'm no fan of Mourinho. I did back him when he was here because he was my manager. He was my first choice to come in, but I did back him, and I thought, maybe he could do something with us. Especially after the season, I've had a lot of time to reflect and look at different things that happened throughout the season, and my opinion of Jose Mourinho has changed drastically. But regardless, he was a player in the squad, and he was contracted to Tottenham Hotspur, and that's his manager. He needs to play for him. But the thing for me, the real nail in the coffin was leaving at halftime from the Liverpool game after being subbed off. He got subbed off because he was awful, and he was directly at fault for the goal. He was awful in the game. He deserved to get subbed off, and he should have owned that like a man and sat on the bench and supported his team. But no, he deserted us. And from that point on, in my opinion, he never deserved to pull the shirt on again. And so I was glad when he terminated his contract. I'm glad he's no longer at Spurs, but if he then takes that and goes across town to the scum, then for me he's right underneath Sol Campbell and Jack Wilshere as one of my most hated footballers of all time. So
why Jack Wilshere?
Oh, because he was so smug when he played at Arsenal. He talked so much trash.
Yeah, he's always trolling us
all the time. I couldn't stand it. There's several videos of like them after cup wins, they're celebrating on top of a bus, and he's leading the like "We hate Tottenham" chants, and I just always thought he just came on the scene and he had all this hype around him. I never thought he was as good as people said, and lo and behold, his career has completely taken a nosedive. And most recently, I heard he's training with some Serie B team, some second division Italian team right now. That's how bad it's gotten for him. So I say karma, but
No, that's
yeah,
right. Karma.
So, I mean,
I say chameleon.
Chameleon. Karma. Yeah. George Michael. Yeah. No, Culture Club.
yeah,
Culture Club. Boy George.
yeah,
The
Boy George, yeah,
the other George.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Good song. But I will, I will not be happy if Serge Aurier decides to go to Arsenal. That will, I will, yeah. I'll hold
I
that
know.
against him for sure.
First of all, right, will Arsenal pay his wages?
I mean, I think they'll pay enough for him, just for him to stay in the Premier League, because I think he realizes that this might be his only chance to stay in the Premier League, and if he doesn't go to Arsenal and stay in the Premier League, his only option is either going back to France to a lower club, and taking much lower wages, like maybe going back to Lens or something like that, or the alternative from that would be to go to a much lower league, some place like Turkey or Russia, or some place like that. And I don't think he's at that point in his career where he's ready to move down to a lower league like that. So,
but whatever it is, happens. And if we do meet him, I don't know whether he'll be ready to play us in 2 weeks or 2 weeks time, more 3 weeks time or so.
Yeah, 3 weeks time.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Time.
So,
but, Jamie, what about your thoughts about the next 3 games coming up?
So what was it Palace, Chelsea, and
Arsenal?
Well, I would like to say 2 easy, 1 hard, but North London derby is always interesting fixture, no matter what the form. And we used to say that when we were not doing so well, but when it comes to the North London derby, form goes out the window, and it's a game by itself. So I would like to think 3 points against Crystal Palace, at least a point against Chelsea, at least a point, if not a win, against Arsenal, but not nailed down for the win against Arsenal because it is a North London derby.
Yeah. But before Arsenal plays us, they have to play Norwich first, right?
I believe so, yes.
After Norwich, they have to play another. Norwich.
Let's see. I feel gross just opening up their schedule. They play Norwich. Yeah, they're home against Norwich, and then they've got Burnley away, and then
they play us.
They have a cup game, and then us. Yeah, so
we have a cup game too, right? Don't forget we play Wolves.
Yes. Before the Arsenal game for the North London derby, we do have a game against Wolves in the cup. That'll be interesting. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't think we should be trying too hard for the League Cup this year. I think the 2 competitions we should focus our energy on are the Premier League, trying to finish as high as possible so we can bring in better quality players. And then the other one would be the Europa Conference League, because I think that's one where we have a clear path to the final. I think the League Cup might be one if there was such thing as sacrificing a competition a little bit, I think that would be the one I would put the least amount of energy and resources into.
But that's it. Let the international break finish first, because then we'll see what happens, because don't forget, injuries do happen during the international break, right? So fingers crossed, nothing happens to our players.
Why do you think they call it the international break?
Yeah.
Because they break you. Right. But World Cup qualifiers, right? You can't avoid it. Everybody wants to play for their country. Surprisingly, we did let our two players, the Argentinian players, go quite amicably with no fuss, right? So that's one thing I think I see in Nuno is that he doesn't make a fuss about things which he can't avoid, and he keeps it positive, right? He will still support the players if they want to go, and those are a lot of good signs where, I mean, psychologically, you don't put some kind of a mental barrier between you and the players, right? As the manager or the coach. So I guess it is what it is. And let's say Romero and Lo Celso coming back, since even Romero and Lo Celso wasn't quite active in our first team in the Premier League, I see he's going about things in the correct way. Okay, try not to make too much of a fuss about things which he cannot control, and encouraging the players when they come back, trying to find a way to solve the problem instead of adding more problems on top of the problems. So that's what I see is a positive thing from Nuno, the way he's managing the players
Absolutely.
and the mentality in the squad and all that. That's a very good move by him, because he himself did come out to say that, you know, the authorities and all that should take into consideration certain aspects of what's happening and all that. So let's see how it goes. That's it. Since, how is it, after the international break, players come back, then they have to get back with the team again, the squad again, and we are having what I call, if the domestic window is still opens for us. Like I said, there are players that maybe we still can get from the championship to bolster our squad, and what we need now is more or less of a striker. Hopefully, can get one from the championship as a backup at the moment. All right, so let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's another worry too, mentioning the international break and the mandatory quarantining that'll have to take place for some of these players coming back from red listed countries. You know, I do worry about what position that puts us in for that cup game against Wolves. I feel like we'll likely be short at center back. I don't know if Joe Rodon is fit or how close to fitness he is. If he will be fit for that game, that'll likely be the first time we see him. And there's a possibility we could end up. I'm not really sure. I don't know what center back pairing. I think Romero might come in, and we might see a pairing of Romero and Rodon for that game. I definitely don't think Nuno will play either Sanchez or Dyer 3 times in a week. That's a recipe for disaster. But and Tanganga, is the starting right back now. I don't see him losing his place so quickly to Emerson. So it does leave us in a difficult position for that game as well. Gio Lo Celso, has not been a starter and has been very critical for us in the cup games we've played so far. So not having him available also will make us a little thin at midfield, which unfortunately for all Tottenham Hotspur fans means we'll likely see a lot of Harry Winks in that game. So,
Yeah, I know. And then there's the $1 million question: what's going to happen with Ndombele? Tangy.
yeah. So Jamie, I haven't heard your perspective on this. What's your thoughts on Ndombele and what's come out about him?
Well, unless his attitude changes, it will just be a case of him possibly rotting on the bench until we can get shot of him. I'd like to think that he can get his head on straight and warrant at least part of his transfer fee. But at the moment, it's just seems like it's a player who's not happy where he is and spitting at his dummy. He obviously has talent, but he just hasn't shown it in a Spurs shirt, not apart from a couple of flashes of skill, but not enough to warrant the price that we paid for him. So I would like to think that Nuno could calm the boy down and get him playing, and maybe by mid-season we can start seeing the player we thought we'd bought. but certainly until Christmas, it will be gauging whether he's actually a liability or going to be a future legend.
Jamie, what do you think Tanguy Ndombele needs? What do you think he needs from the club, from the coaching staff, to get his mentality in the right place? Or is there anything at all that the club or the coaching staff can do? Or is this totally up to him and we're kind of at the mercy of
Well, the way they were
what?
talking, it was like, oh, I don't want to lose Aurier, I don't want to lose Sissoko, my ami, mon frère. So maybe we just need to get all the French-speaking players, whether they be French African or whether they be French. Maybe. Okay, just a thought came to my head. Maybe we could get Lloris to mentor him, become his big brother, and be the arm around his shoulders and say, "Look, hey, you do it for France, you can do it for our team," you know. So yeah, actually, probably the best of all my ramblings is Lloris. Lloris can mentor Ndombele.
Do you think Hugo Lloris is a player like that though? He's never really. I mean, he is our captain, of course, but he's never really seemed to me like that kind of player. One to truly mentor a player, to put his arm around a player. To he always seems like a captain that leads more by example off the pitch and then by command on the pitch, rather than one who is very invested in bringing players along and helping individual players, find their place in the squad. It's he's never seemed to me, from what
He
we've
is
seen.
still but he is still a captain, so maybe it'll be an opportunity for him to grow as a captain. I mean, I know my analogy of getting a francophile, a French speaker, to get on Ndombele in the good books, but I don't know. I
For
mean,
how,
do you think it's a case of give him some runouts and just encouraging the fans to get behind him and really show him that he can be loved at the club if he reciprocates.
yeah.
Well, I
But
mean, I don't think so in the Premier League. I mean, if he's not fit to play, then he can't be play. He's a liability. So, I mean, maybe if we could give him a run out in one of the cup games, possibly that Wolves game, since I don't know if we're going to be able to. We just don't. I don't think we have the squad depth to really sustain challenges to 3 cup competitions this year, along with the league, which is so important.
They do say one of the key events that made him get all uppity was the fact that he wasn't included in the cup final last year against Leicester.
And I think he does have a right there to be upset about that. I mean, I think there are very few Tottenham fans who could defend Ryan Mason's lineup choices in that game. I know there were people who were mad at people criticizing Ryan Mason, because they thought that, I don't know, maybe because of his age or lack of experience, that it was unfair to criticize him. I was on board with what Will Stewart said, in which case, in that he's 29 years old. The guy's older than I am. He's 5 years my elder. And I know
you just made me feel very old. Thank you. That means I'm twice your age.
you're talking about Ndombele?
No, Ryan Mason.
Ryan Mason.
Yeah, because he chose not to include him in the squad for the cup final, and a lot of people were saying that's unfair to criticize him.
Team. Not Ryan Mason.
Well,
team
exactly, exactly. And
when Ryan Mason took over, it wasn't him making the choices who's playing. I guess most probably it's Levy making the choices who's playing. All right, but for Tanguy, I believe it's up to Nuno to see whether he's ready to join back the squad, not even to be on the bench, right? For Premier League games and all that. If Nuno feels that he's there physically and mentally, he's ready to start for us, then Nuno will put him in. And Laurie's part is, I hope that maybe he'll put his arm around Tanguy's shoulder and say, "Yo, I'm the captain of the French squad. The World Cup is coming up. If you perform well in Spurs, I'll put a word in for you with Deschamps." Right? I'm sure Loris will have weight, right? Since he's the captain of the French team too.
And
Right?
for anybody who's interested but may not have been watching, the United States CONCACAF qualifier for the World Cup 2022 against El Salvador has just reached its conclusion. The final score was 0-0, and I have to say that was an absolutely abysmal performance from the United States national team. Just the lack of creativity in the final third was astonishing. I mean, just everything we tried seemed to be just not coming off, and
So
we seemed to really.
You're saying you used everything in your arsenal.
Yeah, there seemed like so much fear to really try and they were playing very compact, and they were trying to make us break them down, and I was really disappointed with our inability to do so. But there seemed to be a lot of fear to try and break through the middle of that defense as well. When it was clear the crosses weren't coming off, I don't know. I don't know if Sebetro was the best decision taking Sargent off. I don't know. I think Sargent's a little taller. I think he would have been a bigger target in the box to try and hit. I don't know. It's a difficult one, and not a result I would have liked going forward. But at least it's a draw. It's not a loss. So, but
yeah, all is not lost yet, right? Usually, you play with the CONCACAF, and CONCACAF. I think top two from that group goes through, right? So, and usually CONCACAF, the top two is usually Mexico and the US. But once in a while, you might have a out of the blue, it's like kind of what we call underdog coming up the ranks, but usually you don't see that in the CONCACAF, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this Jacqueline Smith, United States performance was very lackluster. Yeah, she agrees. This is my personal friend, by the way. Everybody say hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Jackie.
Hi,
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate your support as always. And I'm sure her dad had that game on the TV. We just went to one of our local clubs games together a week ago. So and we won. So that was awesome. James Joyce on our previous discussion, respect Lloris, but would love to see Højbjerg be the captain. Would think he'd put some fire into some of them. I agree. I think the problem is just that this is likely Hugo Lloris last year at Tottenham Hotspur, and because of that, and of course also because Nuno is coming in as a new manager, I don't think he wanted to shake things up by stripping him of the captaincy, which I don't think Lloris has really done anything to deserve losing the captaincy. I mean, there was the little joking and laughing around after that Everton game last season that people, and myself included, weren't happy with. But I don't think that alone is enough. Especially you look at the filth; they still give Granit Xhaka the armband after everything he's done. It's completely unbelievable to me. But that's just another reason to be happy we're Tottenham.
Yeah. But I said that you say is correct, right? It's Hugo's last season or year with us. Just give it to him for the time being. By the time comes, whether he extends his contract or whether he moves on, right? That's why Golini is there. So I guess it's one step at a time. And when the time if he leaves, then I think that will be the chance to see who gets the captainship for Spurs, right?
Okay, Spundit, we would love to be on the Amazon Music app, but I don't think we're quite there yet.
Yeah, I think as well. When you need to have a separate recording for the audio to get the audio version. in order to put that on, because this is live streamed over StreamYard's platform. So I don't know if you can isolate the audio from that. I think you'd have to have a separate record going.
Some of the Will's rants are on Twitter and Discord, but some of us channels are a little bit younger, even if we are linked with Will's rants. So
yeah, Will's on Twitch as well, which personally, maybe one day. Twitch has a very strong terms of service, and I don't want to run afoul of that, so I'd rather just not deal with it at all right now. But I don't know about you guys, but I was thinking maybe drop the link in the chat if anybody was interested in coming on.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Drop it in. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and drop that in there.
We know that our Canadian buddy has already headed off. He was only here for the first part. I think James Joris or Spundit might do a good job if either of them jumped on.
Yeah. So if any of you want to come on and have your say, and if there's anything Spurs related on your mind or football related in general you like to talk about, just hop on. And you don't have to have your camera on. That's totally okay. If you want to just do audio only, there's no problem with that. And
look at the three of us. Kieran is going to go straight to bed after this. I'm probably going to take a nap before work after this. He's about to go to bed. We only just woke up before the broadcast, so don't worry. You're not going to look like haggard in comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But Amazon Music app, what's that?
It's the Amazon Music app. It's the music app that's run by Amazon.
Do they have live shows like this too?
I don't know because I don't have it. I only have
that's why
an Amazon buying account.
Yeah.
I think it would just be a podcast, like kind of a podcast aggregator. So there's apps for stuff like that. I mean, obviously there's like Apple Podcast and there's
Spotify and all that.
Spotify, Stitcher is another one. There are a few others that people use, so I'm sure that's just the Amazon version.
One called Anchor.
Anchor, yes, that's free, and Anchor has a lot of good resources for people looking to create podcasting and really help you out getting started with that. So yeah, absolutely. But hey, no free advertising. I don't want to say anything good about anybody selling a product unless unless you're gonna give me some money for it. So yeah, well, we're not at super chat. We're not at super chat level yet, so we certainly can't afford to give out free advertising.
Okay, well maybe I can speculate as to other platforms that we can expand to. Let's frame frame it that way.
Yeah, guys. But let's say coming back to Spurs again. The things that's been happening, and the fan must be blowing at Jamie's head because because
the AC is controllers on the other side of the room, and it's midday in Manila. Enough said.
But it's cloudy here. It's been cloudy for some time here in Malaysia.
At the moment here, it's 31 degrees centigrade, but the problem is it's the humidity, not the temperature.
Yeah, that's usually the case here in Virginia too. For the summers, it's very hot, but it's the humidity that kills you. Right now, though, with this past day, so because obviously it's midnight here, we just had a very, very unseasonably cool day due to the hurricane that is making landfall.
Yeah.
Well, it was crazy. I've seen pictures of flooding in New York.
Oh, it's absolutely unreal. I've never seen flooding like that before in New York City. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, if global warming carries on, New York is low enough lying that a lot of the metropolitan area of New York would be underwater. Same with London, actually.
Yeah.
Why do you think I moved to the mountains?
So you could act out 2012. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm here to. I'm gonna build my bunker, my compound, so I'll be safe.
We'll have to start calling you Noah.
Yeah.
But guys, don't forget, if you move into the mountains, right, there's always the other part of it, right? You still have forest fires problems.
And
True,
you
but
and you might start hearing the music in the background in your backyard. You'll be, what's that? Ding 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 ding
yeah,
ding 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 ding.
yeah. There's a lot of people out here have bumper stickers on their cars that either say keep walking, that show like a hiker, or they'll show like a canoeer or kayaker. It'll either say keep walking or keep paddling. I hear banjo music.
Oh
If you
dear.
ever were walking in the
Actually,
woods,
yeah, are you close to any mountain? What mountain range are you close to?
the Blue Ridge Mountains, part of the
Oh, so
Appalachian mountain range.
literally. So we can call you,
Yeah.
we can call you Stan. We can call you Oliver. In the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia,
Yeah.
by the sound of the lonesome pine.
Uh,
Sorry, I watched a lot of TV and films as I was growing up, and one of my first jobs for several years was Blockbuster Video. So,
Oh wow,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, I
Uh,
missed those. There's still one. There's one left in operation
mm.
from what I know of. I think it's in Oregon. But luckily for me, Eugene, you mentioned the wildfires. The East Coast is not too affected by those. That's mostly the western part of the country. And
But
a huge
not even the smoke, because I mean
the
I've got a
smoke does
friend.
reach here, yeah.
Yeah, because I got a friend that's in Lake Tahoe, and he showed a picture of what it normally is that time of year, and the smoke pollution. I mean, he's further west than you, but still, I mean, he's you know several hundred miles away from the forest fires, and yet it it looks like they're
cause a
there.
haze. Yeah. No, it's like that. When the wind blows, right, the smoke has to go somewhere. If it doesn't go up, it goes sideways, right? Like Harry Wings.
Okay, well, you're an expert. You're talking from the perspective of being a Marlboro man.
Yeah. No, I'm talking from the what called the point of view is when you're in Malaysia and when Indonesia starts starts clearing their forests for oil palm plantations
No,
to
I was
burn
just
it.
making the
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know.
When you're tired, you're
Ah. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. K and Aaron Dubb, but Aaron
Mm,
didn't care. Aaron was just sitting there in the middle of the vlog, just yeah.
yeah. No, to tell you the truth, right? Is I think the Spurs channel don't condone that much, showing us smoking on live YouTube. But if you go on other channels like the Chelsea channels, I've seen them do all kind of weird things on YouTube while talking about Chelsea Football Club. So
Well, we've got a
uh,
hot we've got
we drink
Dan.
though.
Now, yeah, we've got yeah, but as long as you don't show Dan and Hotspur Huddle what's in the glass, you might as well be
Yeah,
drinking iced tea. So,
yeah,
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah.
so actually, I could do with right now a long glass of iced tea would be
Long
quite
Island iced
refreshing
tea.
right now. No, that would put me out for the count. Because
Yeah,
Not before work. He'll be on the clock later.
yeah. Actually,
yeah.
I'm not allowed to. Yeah, actually it says you're not allowed to be incapacitated. So,
Intoxicated.
well, I would
Yeah.
be incapacitated because of
Yeah,
so. But no, I don't think that'd be like trying to teach when you've had no sleep. Like,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
uh,
it's like trying to do a YouTube live stream without sleep. You'll be like,
no, but yeah,
Uh, so
but there
I
has
hope so. I hope
there's been a
somebody took a picture of that. Took a
yeah.
screenshot.
uh,
I should have.
Yeah,
Like,
Kieran, I'm still waiting for you to do your compilation of my gaffes and my jokes that you was going to
oh,
put in as a
ah,
segue.
yeah,
absolutely. We will at some point. It'll happen.
yeah,
At the weekend, Mr. K muted me to stop me
yeah.
from my cheesiness, and then I unmuted myself, and he was like, "Oh, he unmuted himself."
We
But
can.
thing is, we have our church services on Zoom, and quite often, if I'm getting a bit sort of distracted or not quite keeping to what we're discussing, I suddenly see the message come up: host has muted you. So it seems to be I get in front of a video camera and sometimes my mouth just starts going off.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Swift. Hit
Wow.
like and sub.
Yeah.
Spurs After Dark with our man Kieran and Spurswasion, which covers the World Spurs Tour as well. So whether you're in the woods of the Appalachians, or you're in the metropolitan jungle of Manila, or you're somewhere in Malaysia, we are spreading the news. We are like who are the guys that navigated the rivers across America?
Lewis and Clark.
Yeah, Lewis. We
Yeah.
are the Lewis and Clark of Spurs in Asia and the Mid-Atlantic states.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for example, just, huge shout out to what you two guys do, Eugene, Jamie, on Persuasion TV. I mean, I was just the other day on a midday stream on Persuasion TV that had all these Indian Spurs fans on, and I just thought it was so cool to be able to interact with them. Because to be fair, like, I've seen people from many different places in the world, but don't always see too many of the Indian Spurs fans, even though I do know there is a massive support base for them there.
Have you noticed one thing? Most of the Indian Spurs fans are stat crazy.
Yes, they're very big on stats.
Yeah, maybe that's because of the cricketing side, that they're used to keeping track of stats in detail in all their competitive sports.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are like encyclopedias, all off the cuff. They don't have to look anything up. They're not like me over here opening another tab and going to Google. No, they just know it right off the top of their head. It's really impressive, and the enthusiasm and love they have for Tottenham is as real as any other Tottenham supporter, and it's awesome. Just to bring us all around the world together. All these different places. It's a really awesome thing that this community, and especially Spurswasion TV, you guys are the probably the best at it of anybody, bringing people from around the world together.
Put that down to
with our love of
We
Tottenham.
try.
Put that down to Eugene. Every time I reach out to somebody, they eventually don't show up.
No, Jamie, keep trying. It's persistence, right?
No, because we got
show up.
Is it BC in Singapore, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to, do you remember this Brains McLeod? He was on We Are Tottenham TV.
Oh, he's box office. He's box office on We Are Tottenham TV.
I'm actually reaching out to him to come on to us, so I'm keeping a dialogue open with him.
That's good.
I started following and added him. It seems as if he's into some kind of new metal group, because on his Messenger or Twitter, he looks like he's got the fake. Who's the guy? No, it's not Gua. It's not Slipknot. But there was a rocker that always had black and white face makeup on.
You're talking about Ozzy Osbourne?
No, this is new metal.
Kiss? So not
New
Kiss
metal,
then, because I think of black and white face paint. I think of Kiss.
This is a guy who was he's I think he's still around now. I don't think he still
Manson?
wears it. But
Marilyn Manson.
No. This guy was the oh man, I can see his face. Ironically, it'll come to me anyway. See, this is why I get muted in conversations, because I go off at tangents. Not tangangas, tangents.
No. Hey, this is the World Spurs Tour.
Scott something. Do you know any famous rockers whose first name is Scott?
Can't remember. Too early for me.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not. It's not too early. I was up too late last night, and then I woke up. That's the thing. I want to chill out after work, but when work finishes around 11, and then I've got to do reports, then my free time goes into the small hours, and then I sleep, and I wake up near lunchtime, and then it's only a couple of hours before I'm getting ready for work again. I mean, it's like when I did shift work at London Underground. Your body clock gets totally screwed over.
True.
I mean, I remember one time when this is the last little adage, and we'll get back to Spurs, I promise. When I first I worked for London Transport for 11 years, and when I was first getting used to the shift work, I did an early shift where I was up at 3 a.m., started at about 5:15, finished at about 1 p.m., and it was summertime, so I got home when it was still light. I fell asleep on the couch in my uniform for a few hours, woke up, it was still light, and I thought that I'd slept through to the following morning. So I started running down my road and then looked at my watch and realized it was the same day. So yeah, and yeah, shift work messes with your stomach, messes with your body clock. So if anyone's ever done that, they'll understand. Anyway,
Absolutely.
let's get back to Spurs. I just read a news story that apparently Vinicius has been signed for PSV, a guy who we should have kept on to considering our current circumstance, and he's just been signed up for PSV.
It's
So
it's unfortunate. I think the thing with Vinicius was that there wasn't a second year option for to extend the loan. It would have been we would have had to purchase him. The price was like 50 million, which I don't think would have been the real price. Of course, the Portuguese clubs love to set very high release clauses and buy options, and then of course you can negotiate them down from there. But they like to make sure that if they do send a player on loan and he performs exceptionally well, that they get their full value, which is not a bad strategy. But yeah, it just didn't seem like it was in the cards for him to get a second year here. And I like Vinicius. I like him as a player. As a person, as a human being, I think he's. If anybody hasn't seen the YouTube video on Spurs officials account from last season, where Vinicius and Lucas Moura sit down in a Brazilian restaurant in London and talk about Vinicius' childhood and his mother and his football career. Go watch it. You have to go watch it. It's inspiring. It's heartbreaking. It's moving. It made me shed a couple tears. I mean, it's really powerful stuff.
yeah, but
And
you're a softie.
I am a little bit. I am a
Actually,
little bit.
having said
A bit of a passion merchant.
no, having said that, I think I do cry easy, especially if I'm stressed out or tired. But yeah, no, but he would have been a more solid backup than Dane Scarlett realistically can be at this point in his career.
Absolutely, yeah.
But to tell you the truth, there are a lot of choices out there, right? Would be a more solid backup than Dane Scarlett as a backup striker for Kane. But the Vinicius part is, I think, in the end, it comes down to the money, right? We're not going to pay £34 million for him. Okay, and Levy's not going to pay £34 million, right? As I've been saying all this while, we will not spend more than 25 to 30 million pounds for a player this transfer window, and I've still been left to be proven wrong. So let's see how it goes. Windows closed. We've got more or less our squad settled, right? We have a few players that we need to turn their head back and focus on the footballing side of the footballing side, right? Instead of all the personal issues and all that. And hard to say, if Tanguy does come back, it could be a new signing for us. That's why. And guys, what do you think about Hill playing creative midfield?
I think it's an excellent option. Personally, let me see if I can pull this up. Oh, it was in the old. Well, personally, I think it's a great option. I don't think he's ready to start right away every game in the Premier League, but I think we should work him in as a sub in that position. I think Lucas is probably our best option to start right now, but I would like to see him come on as a sub. And here I'm gonna. I did a mock 11 that I would like to see us play, and I'll go ahead and bring that up in a second. But you guys go ahead and give your opinions on it.
About Tangy?
Well,
Oh no.
oh, about Heel as a number
Oh,
10.
Hills. Yeah, sorry, I was the one who said it. I
Yeah.
forgot. Sorry,
Yeah,
early
yeah.
morning.
You asked the question.
Yeah. Guys, don't blame me. I haven't had anything to. I've just been drinking water since I woke up.
Yeah, I haven't. I have actually no. I've eaten a couple of. Okay, I don't know whether they sell this in Malaysia. Choc nut spread.
No.
It's basically Filipino Nutella, but it's more
Yeah.
known. It's more known as a candy.
Mhm.
It's a very soft chocolate tablet, but it seems to be basically. It seems like someone thought, okay, let's mix peanut butter with a little bit of chocolate and let it dry and put it in packets. But it's nice, but
Sweet.
it's sweet. Yeah, no, the ingredients aren't that bad actually. Its main ingredients are roasted peanut, cane sugar, not refined sugar, milk powder, and it uses coconut or palm oil.
Ah.
So it's actually considering it may not be healthy, but at least it's mostly natural. So
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
still
guess
miss
if
I
I guess
still miss my chocolate Lucky Charms. Kyrian, if
yeah.
Dan can't send any, you can.
I'll check the grocery store for them. I don't know if they're something that's always in stock or if it's like a seasonal or promotional thing, but I will check for you.
Or the other one I want to try because I've only had the regular is the chocolate cinnamon toast crunch. Because in the supermarkets here they have these tiny boxes of cinnamon toast crunch churros and a whole variety of like blueberry and honey crunch and regular Cheerios, but that's about it. And you're paying top dollar for a half size box. So I mean, like with the economies here, I mean, it costs like about $6 for a box half the size you'd find in American supermarket, and with the economy over here, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
Mhm, mhm,
yeah.
mhm, mhm,
Well, yeah, I'll keep an eye out for you, and if I find them, you can send me your address. I'll send you a box
Okay,
over.
forget Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch is not as good as I remember it. So
I feel like they changed something about it a few years back because the last time I had it, it didn't taste anything like what I remember as a kid. But of course, your taste buds also change as you get older.
yeah.
So
Well,
who
I had
knows?
it. I had it regular in 2002 when I did a college exchange to Massachusetts. Then in 2007, I was seeing friends in Chicago and Texas and whatnot, and suddenly it become all flaky and it was like scratching the top of my mouth. I was like, this don't. Same thing happened to Butterfinger. Butterfinger
mhm.
seems to have become desiccated. So, and I'm not the bar. And sorry, all I can say is the last time I did a big holiday to the States was 2007. And if you see photos of me in Chicago, and then I went Chicago 1 week, Texas 2 weeks, and then Baltimore, DC 1 week. By the end of that 1 month, my face had widened because because I was hanging out with people that could only hang out with me for lunch or dinner. And so, of course, I said, hey, you're visiting. Let's go here, here, here. Oh, I'll treat you. And I didn't say no. So I was eating like Saturday night most days of the week. And of course, if you eat that kind of, if because I don't think Americans eat as much as people think they do, but when they have a night out, they have a night out.
Oh
And
yeah, big time.
I was the guest in town, so I had all these friends offering me these culinary nights out. My taste buds were happy, my stomach was happy, but my waistline and my fat percentage was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So
It'll happen to you.
and just think about it: Chicago, deep pan pizza and Italian beef. Then I went to Texas, barbecue central, and then I went to Maryland. You know, that's seafood and shellfish. So
What? Yep, absolutely. the Italian beef sandwiches from Chicago. That's a whole another universe of flavor. It's amazing.
And that was I think it was Al's beef or something
Al's
like that.
beef. Yep, that's the one you got to go to.
And
Absolutely.
the first time I ever went to Chicago, back in about 2004, a brother, and I'm talking like African American brother, he took me to a Ma and Pa place in one of the what would have been an unsafe neck of the woods for me if I wasn't with him. And the hoagie that I had, the beef hoagie that I had, was so good. I was oblivious to the fact that the gravy and the grease was literally like water falling down onto my jeans. And then I was like, oh no! And then I carried on eating. It's like, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You always got to watch out for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Eugene. I'm hungry.
So am I.
So-
after all that, so am I.
Mm.
But guys, do you think that Nuno will go back to a back three?
Well, so that's what I'm thinking. And so, is it showing here? You can see it should be showing up now with the lineup on the screen. Okay, so this is what I think is our best starting 11 right now.
Sorry, is lineup 11? Is that just your font, or is that actually an app that?
It's an app. Yeah, it's an app on your phone where you can create your own lineups.
Okay, I am downloading it now.
It's a really fun little app where you could mess around with lineups and stuff.
The thing is, whenever we have all these discussions about we need a fake 9 and a real 9 and whatnot, I mean, I've been following Spurs since I was born. I mean, I'm 50 years old in 18 months, and I've never quite got the hang of the fake 9, the true 9, the 10, the this, the that, and so when you guys comment, I'm having to make these sort of general statements. So
yeah, well, it'll help you understand it a little better. But to be honest, in modern football, we use the numbers, even though it's kind of outdated. We talk about a center attacking midfielder versus a center mid. A lot of these things are kind of they're not as truly descriptive as we think in the way that we use them.
Is this it?
I can't see the screen because I've got this up right now. I don't have my second monitor hooked up at the moment. But
because there's a lineup 11 and there's a lineup 12.
I have no idea. So what we have here is what I think that Nuno will eventually switch to, right? I think the 4-3-3 that we've been using has been mostly about just balance and stability within the squad as much as he can attain right now for the beginning of the season. It's been working, but I think he's going to shift to something more like this because I think our personnel really suits a back 3 or a back 5. So you could call this a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2. Either is really acceptable. But in this lineup, I see a back 3 of Sanchez, Romero, and Tanganga. I think Tanganga in this right center back of a back 3. I think this is the position he was born to play. He's not a true pairing center back in a back 4. He doesn't really have the height for that, and he's not a true right back either. I think this is the sweet spot where he would really excel. Romero, this is where he played at Atalanta. This is where he won Serie A Defender of the Year, right in the center of the back 3 where he can press forward and put pressure on advancing strikers. This is where he excels. And then on the left side, Sanchez, I think, or Dyer, depending on their performances moving forward, but just maybe based on my own biases, but also based on precedent, I think it's only a matter of time for Eric Dyer just falls off a cliff because I don't believe that he'll be able to keep this up for much longer. As where Sanchez, I think, is actually showing improvements and new aspects to his game. Dyer isn't showing me anything I haven't seen. He's just not making critical mistakes like he usually does. Sanchez, though, is showing new aspects of his game, particularly his passing range, that he hasn't shown before. And that's why I think of the two, he would be the one to persist in the lineup. Obviously, Reguilon at left wing back, I think this is more natural for him than being a left back in a back four. It gives him much more license to get forward and less impetus on him to track back and cover in defense. I think it would free him up and make him extremely dangerous in and around the box. And the same is true for Emerson. Emerson is a very solid defensive right back, but he's really, really good in and around the box. He puts in excellent crosses. He's an excellent crosser of the ball. And he also is not afraid to have a go from outside the box either. He scored a few long goals last season at Betis. Stick with the same central pairing that we've been going with Skip and Højbjerg. And then I think if we're lining up like this, I think, you want to have a true center attacking mid, a true number 10. And I think that's Lucas. I think Dele is showing himself more as a box-to-box player, and that's good. But I don't see him as a true creative number 10. I think Lucas is the best we have in that role right now, but I think either Brian Heel or Giovanni Lo Celso could themselves stake a claim to that role. And then we go with a top pairing of Son and Kane. So we've been hearing this since Nuno was announced as the manager, that this is what he wants. He wants a strike pairing of Son and Kane. And then you have options there as well. Lucas can play as a number 9 or as a second striker. Dele can play as a shadow striker. That's probably his best position. And then, of course, we got Dane Scarlett. I think this lineup gives us a lot more versatility and makes better use of our squad. What do you guys think?
To tell the truth, I don't think I'll see this lineup until most probably October, right? Because due to the fact that Romero I don't think he'll be able to play in September after all the quarantine rules and all that. Maybe early October or mid-October, maybe we'll fall into that lineup.
Emerson likewise, not because of injury, just because of he's got to get into the flow.
Yeah, and get used to the Premier League. Emerson.
Trippy. We went into the infinite image there.
Yeah.
Yo. Whoa, man. Yeah. Oh, no. Wait. How'd you do that? The three-stripe one. That one. I like that.
Yeah. No, this part of the StreamYard controls.
Seems like it cuts off Eugene's face a little bit, though, and I don't want to do that.
No, that's my camera angle.
Eugene, at some point, I need a 101 class on this, because remember when sometimes you want me to take up the slack when we had the broadcast.
I need to give you the key. That's why I said, we'll arrange that soon. But once that's quite simple. I thought
that was a Malaysian turn of phrase instead of passing. I thought giving the key was a Malaysian slang.
No, it's not Malaysian slang. But I'll pass it to you because it's
what
not
you're
that
saying
complicated.
So what you're saying basically is the key will open up extra features.
No, that will give you admin.
Yeah, extra features.
Yeah. Admin features. No, that will give you control of the stream. Remember the situation where one of the shows that we did, Mr. K, when he signed out, he ended the show.
He was like, I've got control of the show. Maybe what can happen is that on one of these midweek ones, not the Sunday. I don't want my practice to be the Sunday.
No,
maybe on midweek ones.
No, I can give it to you anytime. Yeah, I can give it to you anytime if you're free. All you have to do is you got to click into sign the StreamYard. I'll give you my email address that my StreamYard is logged on. Then after that, the StreamYard will send me an email, and there will be a password in it, and I give it to you. And when you sign in with that password, you become part of the admin of the my StreamYard account.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
it's not that difficult. Yeah.
I know. Like most things, I overthink things, and it becomes more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah. It's not that difficult. Yeah.
So Eugene, looking at this, we said that it's probably unlikely that we'll see this
soon.
Yeah, soon. It'll probably be until October till we see a switch like this. Yeah. But so in the meantime, we'll probably stick with the basic 4-3-3. I think the back four would be the same: Reguilon, Dyer, Sanchez, Tanganga, Skip, Højbjerg. But do you think that third midfield spot whether it's Skip or Delhi who gets dropped, will be maybe changed in favor of a number 10, or do you think we drop a winger and instead play Son and Kane up top for a number 10? What do you think
Oh,
is more likely? Do you think Bergvine
I
or
mean,
Delhi or Skip
for
is
the
more
time
likely?
being, I think for Nuno is he will have that flexibility with him, right? Because when he plays the 4-3-3, whenever you see one of the one of the left backs or right back, that whenever they go up, right, one will sit back to cover it as a 3. So Nuno's being very flexible with it. Is that we want to see a more attacking style coming in. So I guess that will take some time for Nuno to adjust the players to play that to the way that he wants, right? Now the conundrum comes in is because what we've seen is that with the Skip and Højbjerg being at the center of midfield, it gives more cover to the defense. So that's one plus there. Okay, and of course at the moment with Son being able to score most of our goals, which we've only scored 3 at the moment, right?
But we've conceded 0.
Yes, but we considered 0. And if Kane can come back into his true form, pick up some slack, then I guess the scoreline will look more presentable or more acceptable. But guys, to me is at the moment, I want to see us I want to see us go down. Being a goal down and fight back. Right. I want to see that fight back in us now at the moment, which I have not seen in a lot of our teams for the past few years. Not actually a few years, I mean, since Jose's time, right? Jose's time is always we go up front first, and then after that we sit back, and then we get we get overrun and with a low block and all that, and then we concede late, not 1 goal, sometimes 2 goals, and sometimes 3 goals, right? But with this Nuno's team, I like a lot of us have been saying, he's playing a higher block, more to the midfield. So from there, let's see how it develops. And only Nuno knows what the capabilities of the players that he has, and what he can and how he can utilize them. Like I said, we still do need that creative spark, which actually has been shown during the Watford game when they sit back, totally 9 players in defense. So let's see how we go from there, and maybe Hill will be the key to be unlocking the doors for tight defenses, right? But against Palace, I guess they will come at us. They're at home. They will have to, show the more attacking intent, especially when you're at home. I guess we'll still go back to the same lineup against Palace. But now comes the question: is that who do you drop? Do you still keep Stevie B in, or do you put Lucas in? So maybe he'll rotate it, right?
I think I'd have Bergwijn in and have Lucas as super sub.
Yeah, Lucas looks more dangerous when he comes in as a sub, right?
Yeah.
But let's see how it goes. So you can change it around.
Well,
Right?
maybe
You can always change it around.
maybe we stick with a 4-3-3. So we stick with the same back line, the same forward line of Son, Kane, and Bergwijn, but maybe we drop either Skip or Delhi, and instead put on Lucas or Heel or Giovanni Lo Celso to try and get one of those 3 midfielders to be one that's more progressive, more attacking, more creative than the 3.
True.
Because I mean, we've got Højbjerg, who is less of a true like sit in the middle of the park defensive midfielder. He's not so much the role he played last season under Jose. He's more of a ball winner. He's one of those guys who he'll press up the pitch and win the ball back, so you can just retain the ball in the opposition half. As where Skip is more of that traditional anchor man, right? He's more of the kind of midfielder who will sit in the center of the park and just clean everything up. And then we've got.
Sorry, carry on.
Well, I was just going to say, and then we've got Delhi, the third midfielder, in that box-to-box role where he's getting back and he's defending, and then he's just beelining up the pitch to try and get in and around the box and arrive late and make things happen around the box. Although I have to admit, his work in defense has been great so far this season, but Deli on the front foot in and around the box has not been inspiring for me. I think he slows things down a lot. He takes a lot of time to make decisions. I don't know if he thinks he's faking out the defenders or if he's trying to lull the defense to sleep, but I don't think it's really that effective. So
You
I
know,
don't know.
what I was going to say is, again, I've never been about position. I've been about shape and form and such. But is Bergwijn, is he left side or right side? I'm sounding really dumb here.
well,
Because you haven't got Bergwijn in your setup.
yeah, so that's the thing. I would drop him because I don't think he's been good enough for Spurs. I just don't think he's been good enough. He looks good on the ball when he's moving forward, and that's great. But there's no end product. I don't think his passing is good enough. It's not progressive enough. He's often too safe with his passing, and of course he's shown he hasn't been able to finish. He can't finish his dinner. Get in a great position.
I'd rather have Bergwijn over Winks.
Well, yeah, sure, but
of
as you
course.
can see, Winks isn't in my team.
If he
I wouldn't
is,
put it
no, as an option. I'm saying that
as an option.
you haven't even put Bergwijn as a secondary player on your 11.
Well, because honestly, where does he fit in this lineup? I mean, this is the whole thing. If we're going two strikers and if we're going three at the back, then there is no winger. We don't have wingers. The width comes from the
Okay, well,
wing backs.
I'm designing my team on a 4-3-3, so
He could, and I mean, it's to everybody's opinion. I think if you wanted to use Bergwijn, you could use him as a second striker option. I don't know how well he'd do. I mean, you might be able to use him as a right wing back or maybe a left wing back sub for Reguilon. Honestly, I'm just not a fan of Steven Bergwijn personally. He hasn't shown me enough. He didn't show me enough last season. He's not showing me enough now. I just I think sure he can be an option, but I just don't understand what he really does for the team right now. At least last season he wasn't good enough for me, but at least he had a defined role under Jose's system to play as that defensive winger. But now I'm not sure what he adds to the team. It's great if you can receive the ball to feet in midfield and then streak into the opposition half. It's great if you're fast in transition. But if ultimately you can't do anything with that and you lose possession most of the time, what use are you?
Well, it's early.
If anything, you're just pulling. No, I mean, and don't get me wrong. I hope that Bergwijn comes good, and I hope that he starts putting the ball in the net because that's ultimately what he needs to do as a forward player. But honestly, I didn't agree with the signing at the time because I didn't think he was ready for the Premier League. I think it's pretty obvious with what he's shown since then that he's not ready for the Premier League, and hopefully he becomes ready. Hopefully he comes good. But I just honestly, I don't have any evidence. I don't have any precedent to say that I have any faith that he will do that. He has to show me something, and he hasn't shown me anything for me to believe that he's going to come good. A couple comments here I want to touch on though. Alejandro Perez. Davis can also add backup as a left center back. Absolutely. I think that's the only position he is of any use to Tottenham Hotspur at this point. Ben Davis cannot play left back in a back four in the Premier League. He is too slow. He just gets spun every time. Go back to Manchester City last season and just watch him get absolutely destroyed by both Sterling and Foden. It's a massacre. And if Tanguy gets his act together, he could start in that number 10 spot. Absolutely. We wouldn't have this whole question about this whole thing about we need an attacking midfielder if Tanguy Ndombele was fit and had his mentality in the right place and he was on the field. We wouldn't even be talking about this. Where does the creativity come from? Because it would be coming from him. It would be coming from a record signing. But that's the problem. He's not fit. His mentality's not in the right place. He doesn't want to be here, and so he's not playing. I don't know if you guys wanted to add anything to this comment.
To tell you the truth, I don't rate Davis at all. He makes too many mistakes, right? He gives the ball away too easily. But you have what you have, but that's why Nuno has got such a strong back line now with all the defenders we have. So maybe Davis will be used sparingly. All right. Especially like if you saw him play against Pacos de Ferreira, he wasn't effective at all
No,
against Pacos de Ferreira. Imagine that. Right. So if you're not even at that level, maybe I guess in the cups, all right, not even in the Premier League, unless somebody really gets injured and the whole dynamic of the squad or the first 11 has to change, So to me, I think Davis will be a fringe player for us. Should be a fringe player for us, right? A backup or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's your take on Davis, Jamie?
Utility player at best.
Yeah, utility player at best, right? But somehow or another, he's still around. So we've been having this banter about him having his testimonial soon, right? Ben Davis and his testimonial,
I
the
gotta
whole of
give
last season.
absolutely. I gotta give
Yeah,
credit. Yeah, Will Stewart has this whole little Ben Davis image and music that he plays. The choir, the
yeah,
Angels choir. Yeah, I mean, I'll give this to Ben Davis though. He's been a loyal player. He's never caused a problem. I don't think he ever would cause a problem. He's a consummate professional. As a person, I've heard he's absolutely wonderful, a very nice, charming, kind man. And I have absolutely nothing against Ben Davis as a person. And I think he's a good influence in the changing room. It's just he isn't and hasn't for a while been at the level that we need him to be as part of this Tottenham Hotspur squad.
true.
But I think he's aware. I think he's aware of where he is in his career and what level of player he is. And I don't think he's not the type to be unsettled to push for a move away or to push for more game time. He's comfortable with his position within the squad, and it's important to have players like that. It sounds great if every player in your squad is fighting for that starting lineup position. If every one of them thinks they can be the best, that sounds great on paper, but it takes guys like that to make a coherent squad. It takes guys who are comfortable with only playing 20 games a season. You need players like that in your squad who are going to do that and not kick up a fuss and be professional about it.
Yeah.
Another
But the
comment
sad,
from
but no, but the sad part is right. The abilities are not there.
yeah, absolutely.
That's the sad part. But
As a set.
we give him the credit of all of what you've been saying. But like I said, the sad part is if your abilities are not there, and it's shown even during the Euros. You could see him make all those simple mistakes, right?
Yeah.
That giving the ball away, passing it not it's either too far or too short, right? Interceptions coming in, and that's scary. But like you said, 20 games a season overall, not even in the Premier League, maybe in the Cups and all that against weaker teams. Maybe he'll be used as a utility player there. So the rest of our first team players can have a rest. Okay. That's how I see it at the moment for Davis. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And another comment from James Doris here agrees Stevie B can't finish much like, in my opinion, is Traore. And I agree with that. I think the one thing is that Traore does offer a little bit more. I mean, Bergwijn is fast and physical and a good dribbler, but Traore is all of those things to the nth degree. He's got all of those, and he's got more of each. So, and I think he's a better passer of the ball than Stevie B is. But you're right; they both have a issue finishing, which is why I'm glad we didn't go in and splash that 40, plus million on Traore. I think that would have been a unwise use of transfer funds.
But I say we're not going to pay 40 or 50 million for Traore. We put in a last bid of 30 million pounds and it was rejected straight out. So I guess we won't spend more than I've been saying, right? We won't spend more than 30 million pounds this transfer. We know that's passed. So it is what it is. Maybe hard to say along the way. If things don't turn out the way that Nuno wants, and he still wants Traore, we still can go for him in January, or maybe next season, right? When the prices might come down. Okay, but it depends how he performs for Wolves this season. Okay, if he turns out in the baller and he scores 15 goals, right, then his price will go up. That's how I see it.
And I think Wolves themselves are a big question mark this season. You know, that's a team that I could see finishing anywhere from maybe about 14th or 15th all the way up to 8th or 9th. So it'll be interesting to see how well that team performs this season. Maybe even higher than that, honestly. They could even make it into, maybe they take the Conference League spot or next year, maybe even finish 7th. I think 4th through 6th is probably a little out of their range. I don't think they added enough in the transfer window to really make that next push, and they're recovering from a truly poor season last year, mostly due to just injuries on injuries. But I think we're going to go ahead and take this last comment here, and then we'll do our final thoughts and close it out. James Joris again, and thank you so much, James, for watching, and everybody who's been watching and leaving comments, and we really appreciate it. I'd really appreciate it if you could, drop a like on the video and subscribe on the channel. That would be really great. And of course, subscribe on Spurswation TV as well. If you're not already watching them, you're missing out big time. So James he says here, I would have put a creative midfielder as top priority. We haven't filled that since Eriksen, wasting having a top striker like Kane and Son if we can't get them the ball. I agree, but I think the problem was, and not that I'm justifying this, because I think we certainly should, the club of the stature we are, the revenue we bring in, we should have the funds to go out and buy a ready-made creative midfielder. But that gets into Levy and Enoch talk, and we don't have time for that in this stream. So I'll just say that I think that could have happened had we been able to move Ndombele on. If we had gotten a decent offer for him, I think that we likely would have turned around and spent the whatever transfer fee we received on an attacking midfield player. But because we weren't able to move him on, we didn't do that. I think the best offer we got, the only offer that I actually heard of with any specific detail, was an offer from Bayern Munich that came in for, I believe it was 30 million, and Tolisso, who's a decent player, but I'm not surprised the board rejected that one. That Levy wasn't happy with that. I wouldn't have made that transfer either. So I actually agree with that one. Your thoughts, guys, on the fact that we didn't get a creative midfielder in the transfer window?
Not surprising. All the smoke screens and all the faffing about with Kane and leaving ourselves with so little time to do business. And the fact that we had the double whammy of people expecting a big amount of money being available if Kane went through, and Levy being he's a curmudgeon self when it comes to negotiation.
That's true. Yeah, but of course, getting a creative midfielder, like what James saying is correct. We've missed one since Eriksen left, but with Hill coming in, maybe Nuno can do something to change him to become one, right? So he's still a young boy, lots to learn, right? And let's see how it goes. As the situation with moving Tanguy out, no team's gonna pay 60 million pounds for him now, right? With a 200k salary, wages a week, no team is gonna do that in this kind of economical climate. But the conundrum comes again, right? For us to sell him at a good value, he has to be playing first, okay? And he has to perform, right? So when the time comes, if he's playing and he's performing, right, then the question comes whether he wants to perform for the club or he's doing it so he can get a move out. So let's see how it goes. Only time will tell, right? And like I said, have trust in the process with Nuno at the helm of it. As fans, we should be more positive, support the team, support the squad, support the manager. But in the end, it's still Levy out.
Leave you out, absolutely. But in Nuno we trust. As he said, support the team, support the manager. In Nuno we trust. And that's going to wrap it up for us today, guys. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go around and just plug your channel, but also whatever else you wanted to mention before we close out.
Yeah. Jamie, you go ahead and plug Spurs Vision.
Yeah, I just want everyone to be around at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. GMT, 8 p.m. Malaysia, Manila, 9 p.m. Tokyo, 10 p.m. Australia, this Sunday for Spurswasion. And is it going to be another crazy one, or is the game at a different time?
This weekend there's no games, Jamie.
Oh yeah,
right?
international
But
break. Yeah,
international break. But I'm not sure whether the England match will be played at what time. All right, whether we'll overlap into a watch along for the England match or not.
Okay,
but
so
I don't think so because we'll go back to our normal times. For this episode of Spurs Vision, I'm going back to the introductions of more friends. Right, going back to the step back. Ricky Villa will be joining us. Scott M will be joining us.
So more stop.
Yeah. And hopefully, Johnny Einstein will be joining us in that stream. Yeah. Then we'll talk about the history, and then of course we get the India Spurs boys to be on, and of course you and I will be there, and hopefully Kieran and maybe Dan will be around to hop in. And I know the Spurs family is always there to support us. So let's see. My shows always we go crazy. We always have about up to 9 panelists at one time. Right. Okay. Thanks, James. All right. Looking forward to the next one. Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Mark's from Australia, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Mark Swift.
Mark, are you in Australia? I think he might be, just because of the times that
the timing.
He's usually
But Mark is all over, and a big up to him.
Yeah, I see Mark in all the different channels. Oh, you're in the UK.
He's in the UK.
Oh, you're up early. Yeah, it's about 6 a.m. UK time. So
you're early.
Well, geez, Mark. Well, thank you so much for watching the channel and supporting the channel, because usually Mark's been watching my channel since the first video dropped. So I really appreciate your support, Mark, and I usually stream later in the day, so the fact that he's up and watching, I appreciate that. He interacts on Twitter a lot too. You're a valued member of this Spurs YouTube community and this family. Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching. Right. This has been the World Spurs Tour here on Spurs After Dark, and yes, I am back. Our channel is back now with a new name, and I will be releasing a broadcast schedule for you guys soon, so you know when I will be going live. And we're going to have all sorts of guests from around the Spurs Tube family here on the channel, and we're going to be talking Tottenham Hotspur. You know what it is. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe on both of our channels. Really appreciate the support, and have a good night. Have a good day. And come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah. Is he frozen? You're still live, Kieran. Kieran. I gotta send him a message.
Hey. Arian, the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia are still broadcasting to the world. Okay, so Kieran seems
You've taken over his channel. Oh yes, Kieran's left his channel, so we're in charge of his channel now.
Yeah, but how do we close down the broadcast?
We can't. He has to.
Okay, so if we leave the show, it's just going to be a blank broadcast.
Yes, so we'll just stay on for a while.
You send a message to Kieran to get him to come back on. And this will go into the blooper reel for 2021 for Will's Rant, Spurs Ration, Spurs After Dark, whatever channel is connected to our greater Spurs family. So if you want to make any last minute comments, you've still got a chance to make comments because the admin for this broadcast, Kilian, has left the building and I'm not sure if he knows.
I
Either
think he's got
they'll
an